Yo, what is up guys, Face here and welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day like always, and today I'm going to be going over the T95E6, a tier 10 American collector's heavy tank. Now this is a vehicle that I took way too long to do a review on it. I got this vehicle a few months back in the auctions for very cheap, for a very good price I should say. Today I'm going to be doing a full review on this vehicle, discussing its armor, its strengths and weaknesses, as well as my opinions on this vehicle. Do I think it's strong, and what do I truly think of this vehicle? Now, first of all, this vehicle is getting a massive buff in the next update, so it's even better for me to do a review now, and then also an updated review in the future. So I highly suggest you to subscribe and like the video so that you guys can stay tuned for all the next updates in tier 10. With that being said, let's head straight into the equipment that I run on this vehicle. First of all, I run calibrated shells just because when running calibrated shells, you get 34 increase to your penetration, meaning that you have a total of 374 millimeters of high explosive anti-tank pen. Second of all, I'm running enhanced gun laying drive, and the last one on the first row, I'm running vertical stabilizer. On the second row, I'm running defense system, and then improved assembly, which I highly suggest you to run because while the vehicle does have some armor, which we'll go over in just a moment, yeah, it doesn't have the most armor out there, and that 4% increase is not really going to increase the armor in a considerable amount. That is possibly going to actually help you out. I suggest you to run improved assembly because personally I like to run this vehicle on the medium flanks, which I highly suggest you guys to do, and that extra 138 millimeters could be the difference between you dying and staying alive for the rest of the battle. The last one on that row, I'm running toolbox. Third and last row, I'm running improved optics, engine accelerator, and high-end consumables. Those are pretty straightforward. Now, consumables and provisions wise, this vehicle does not really have that much of a special or unique consumable or provision. So if you'd like to copy them, just have a look, pause the video, and you can have a look at what I'm running down below. Now, with equipment done and dusted, let's go ahead and have a look at the armor on this vehicle. You can see this is the armor of the T95E6 getting shot at by a T62A, which is a medium tank, shooting its standard rounds AP without calibrated shells. And as you can see, the armor on the T95E6 is absolutely awful. And if, let's say, you want to actually run enhanced armor on the T95E6, you're not really getting much of a bonus like you can see here, and that is why I suggested you to run that extra HP instead of the armor. Bits of weak spots here, no problem, and obviously the slower plates, as well as this extremely massive hatch. You can pen that with standard rounds, no problem as well, and these massive weak spots. So as you can see, even when the T95E6 runs, it's complete 10 degrees of gun depression, which is very nice. It makes you very versatile. However, the armor does not get that much better, and even at that point, the only thing that is going to be extremely strong is this gun mantlet and this upper hull. The rest of the armor, yeah, you still got that massive hatch that is incredibly easy to pen, as well as you got these massive weak spots on the sides of the cheeks here, which are a 100% chance of going through. I will say you can't side scrape on this vehicle. Obviously, every vehicle can side scrape at a certain angle, but yeah, this vehicle falls apart extremely easy if you side scrape in it. And your engine is extremely weak on this vehicle, so if people shoot it, yeah, you're going to get set on fire, and it's not going to be a happy time for you. So with the armor done and completed, let's head into a live battle for you guys so we can see exactly how this vehicle plays on the battlefield. Now, our first game is on Canyon, which is actually a very nice map for the T95E6. You got a position where you can use all its gun depression, which it does have 10 degrees, which is very nice. And one thing I will say about this vehicle that is strong point on this tank is that it has a top speed of 50 kilometers, which means that when you need to get to the medium flanks, which is where I always suggest you to go in this tank, you can get there even at the same speed as most medium vehicles. So as you can see here, I'm going for the hill, and this Batchat is also going for it, and I'm getting here before the Batchat even gets here. So that just gives you context of how fast this vehicle is compared to most other heavy tanks. It makes it very unique. The SDR-VK, while it is fast as well, it is definitely not this fast without its speed boost, so just keep that in mind. The SDR-VK is actually a quite good resemblance to this vehicle. However, what I do like about this tank mainly is that it has a very nice alpha and really good pen in comparison to how the SDR-VK has a very low amount of alpha and not a lot of pen. Now, in this situation, my Batshed is not really spotting anybody here for me, and it means that I'm quite very wary of pushing or getting shots onto this M60 because the enemy team has two 183s, and I really don't want to get shot by them, obviously, because they can basically kill me in 2 shots here if they shoot them accordingly with high explosive. Looks like my mouse is playing really aggressive here, and it means that I might be able to get a shot of high explosive into the backside of that M60. Which we do manage to do. However, it looks like somebody shoots me from the left side for 440 damage. That possibly could have been the IS-7, which means that the IS-7 is not with that concept B over there. That is very unusual, and it also means that we're not really spotting anybody here. My Batshed is not the greatest of players. He's basically dead in the first few minutes of this game, and he wasn't able to spot anybody for his team. We do manage to use that fantastic accuracy, which I will say is not the greatest out there. Most tanks, even like an IS-4, feels more accurate than this vehicle just because the gun handling on this tank is just atrocious. As you can see when I start moving, why is this Yag? I don't even know why you're on the hill, buddy. I don't mean to block you, but you're like literally in the way here, man. Anyways, besides that, I was talking about the gun, and the gun is, while it does hit hard, and when you aim it correctly, it can hit the enemy team no problem, like you saw on that M60, that quick snapshot. It still has a very, very bad bloom when moving, so when you try to aim, I highly suggest you to actually wait for the shell to aim in like I'm doing on this M60 to guarantee that it hits the target, because if you don't do that, your majority of the time you're going to miss your shells. Now, it looks like that 183 over there is poking, so I get to put another very nice round into him. And as you can see, this is where this vehicle is way better than the STR-VK. That alpha allowing me to do up there of above 400 damage to that player. And yeah, just for that reason, I love this vehicle. And not just because it has very weak armor, because yeah, the STR-VK's armor is way stronger than the T95E6's. But the T95E6 has that boost in its mobility without running obviously any speed boosts, and obviously the alpha on this vehicle means that you can do a lot more damage in a lot less time, because you don't need to be poking the enemy team as much as you do with the STR-VK, which also means that you won't be getting shot at as much either. Now, the 8.1 seconds of reload, when you use your adrenaline, it turns to 6.9 seconds of reload, which is extremely fast if you think about that. It means that when you verse some medium tanks, your majority of the time you're going to do the damage, no problem. I do want to get a shot into that IS-7 if I can. He might poke here for me, and we do bounce the side of him, and I guess that's my fault for trying to be greedy. It means that I do bounce that shell and don't get a kill from the 183. But maybe, just maybe, we can still get the damage out onto that IS-7. As you can see, the acceleration on this tank as well as its top speed allows me to get here onto this IS-7 before the rest of my team can, and get unlucky apparently. I don't know, I don't even know where that actually just bounced. It might have bounced on the rear end of this guy's tank, and it means that we don't do the maximum amount of damage, and we don't even get to kill this IS-7, unfortunately. Yeah, that sucked, I will say. I don't know what happened on that IS-7. I bounced 2 very ridiculous rounds on him, and I guess that is one reason why the accuracy on this vehicle is not the greatest compared to many other vehicles. So, as you can see, we pull out 3,800 damage in our first game here. Looking at our team, they did pretty decently besides our Jagdpanzer, and yeah, that Batshed did end up surviving the entire game, so kudos to him. He did take a lot of damage off the bat, but he did make sure that he survived the game. Not the greatest game I could have shown you guys, but I will say that my recording actually crashed, and I did play a game before this, which meant that I had to redo this entire video. And in that previous recording, I did manage to do about 5,000 damage in the vehicle for my first live game. And yeah, for that reason, this vehicle is just overall fantastic. And if you're thinking of getting this vehicle, it is not a tank for everyone. It's actually very hard for new players to play. And if you're a new player that is not solely ground to this game and knows how to play this game effectively, the T95E6 is not really going to be your vehicle, because you're most likely going to struggle in it. Anyways, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think of the T95E6 in the comment section below, or in my Discord server. There'll be a link to join that in the description of this video. Personally, I love this tank. It's one of my most favorite tanks in my garage and one of my best buys I have ever made in terms of a vehicle that I have purchased. I love the T95E6. It's very, very versatile. You can take it to the medium flank. Mind you, the armor is not the greatest, which means you can't really brawl in this vehicle, which I highly suggest you not to do, because in a face hug position, people can absolutely pen the upper hull of this vehicle. However, like I said, in the next update, this tank is getting a massive improvement that will actually make it a very viable option in terms of picking between a Concept 1B or an STR-VK. You can now pick the T95E6 over them and have a lot better time hitting your targets because the gun is getting a massive improvement. If you already have this vehicle, what do you think of it? Do you like it? And if you're somebody who doesn't have the vehicle, does this vehicle look tasty to you? And is it a vehicle that you actually want and think that it will fit your playstyle? Anyways, guys, that's it for me today. Hope your shells hit their marks, and I'll check you in the next one. Cheers.